and other people, it takes a while.
Well, that's true with everything, right? So we're going to take a little break here, and I'd like to remind you listeners that you are listening to Herbally Yours on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. Listen live online at nccradio.org or on iHeartRadio, anywhere you are, in the car, in the house, wherever you are. You can listen to us on iHeartRadio. Just download the app. For more information on today's guest or topic, email us at whpc@ncc.edu. Stay tuned. Herbally Yours will be right back.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kristen Bell, and I invited you here to my hotel room to talk about your cheeks, your big, beautiful cheeks. Get your mind out of the gutter. I'm talking about swabbing them. Did you guys know that each year 20,000 Americans with blood cancer are searching for their life-saving marrow match? Can you even believe that? I mean, people need marrow, you guys, and we have it. So here's how we can help. It's really, really simple. All you have to do is swab your cheek. Then go to Gift of Life Marrow Registry. It's so easy, anyone can do it. And in case you're wondering, if you're a match, donating, it's a lot easier than you think. So wherever you are, go ahead and swab that cheek. Go to giftoflife.org and get a free kit sent to your home, or find a donor drive in your area so that you can swab a cheek and save a life. It's only a minute of your time, but it can give someone else the rest of their life.
And welcome back to more right here on Herbally Yours on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. Thank you so much for joining us. This is Ellen Kamai, the natural nurse, and we'd love to meet you. And there's lots of ways that we can do that. For instance, come to any class or workshop in person, and we have many. Just go to naturalnurse.com, look at the calendar, and then nowadays, of course, just like we have our podcast, which so many of you are listening into, and thank you for that, but also we have online learning. We have courses that are CE certified. That means that if you're a professional, such as a nurse, midwife, registered dietitian, massage therapist, many other health licenses, you can get CE certified credits for taking our classes. And our classes involve things that you might be interested in if you like Herbally Yours, such as herbs. We have a natural nurse herbal certification course available as well. And all these things can be found at naturalnurse.com. Under calendars has a list of workshops. Of course, we also have our radio shows, and these shows are archived. Today's show will be archived, and our guest today, you'll be able to reach her just by going to her website, which is easy to just go to the archives and click. And Anne is an accredited Enneagram practitioner, and she is an author, holistic therapist, artist, workshop facilitator, and journalist, and an avid long-term student of the Enneagram, which we're talking about today. The Enneagram is divided into 9 personality types. It's an interesting thing to find out where you fit, because it helps to sort of help you understand yourself and your motivations better. And when there are things that you like about yourself, it's great to know. And when there are things that you're struggling with within yourself, it's also wonderful to have a reference point. So thank you so much for joining us today, Anne.
That's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Now, I'm looking at this questionnaire in the back, because I think that's probably, it is in the back of the book, but might that actually be a really good place for someone to start with the Enneagram quiz?
I think that might be a good way to start, but I think, as I say, it's different. It's a journey. Every person's journey is different, and some people might just hit the nail on the head straight away, and for other people it's longer. And I think the point that I want to say is it actually doesn't matter, because it's all part of the journey. So even if you think you're a 5 and actually in time realize that in fact you're 7, that is part of your journey. And the growing and learning and the understanding from that will still be beneficial to you. Otherwise, I say, read books, chat to your friends, do some online tests, read my book, go through the different types, because sometimes if we even just look at things like what we do, how we order when we go out, you'll say, oh, but that's exactly what I do, and the whole book should be giving you clues as to what type you are. And then, of course, at the end, there's a test.
Well, I'll give some examples of the Enneagram quiz so the listeners can get an idea. So here's a question. My ideal restaurant is A, somewhere upmarket, new and trendy. B, romantic and unusual. C, somewhere I've been before that's safe bet for a good meal. So which of those would you prefer? I'll tell you what I prefer. I always like something super healthy that I can run in and grab and leave. That choice isn't here. But maybe it's somewhere else. So that's the kind of thing where it's looking at where you fit in on these actions.
Would it be helpful if I just, in a couple of words, and obviously it's very basic, but just ran through the 9 types, just to give people an idea of the 9, of a feeling for the 9 different types?
Yes, that's a great idea.
Okay, so we've done the 1 that's right, wrong, black, white, punctual. They're the crusaders of the world. They want to make the world a better place, and so you often find them as teachers, as politicians. In those kind of positions. And then you've got the type 2, that's the caring, wanting to help others, needing to be needed, like to tune into what it is you may want so they can then fulfill that need. And then the type 3 are very driven, ambitious, adaptable, goal-orientated. You often find them in marketing. They love reading all those books on how to get ahead quick and success made easy, and better themselves. And then type 4 is the more artistic, sensitive, creative, very intense, often quite cultured, can be quite withdrawn from others. Some say melancholic at times. And then your type 5 is your intensely cerebral type. They're very informed. They can be witty. They tend to be specialists in their field. They're very observant. So they watch with almost a sense of detachment what's going on in the world.
Well, I just want to remind our listeners that we're listening to Herbally Yours on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm Ellen Kamai, the natural nurse, and our guest today discussing Enneagrams is author Anne Gadd. So yes, continue telling us the different kinds, Anne.
So type 6 is loyal, responsible, devil's advocate. Fear is an issue for them, so they're always somewhat preparing for what might happen. Then you get type 7. They're upbeat, optimistic, fun-loving, extrovert, planning the next thing. They're looking into the future for what could keep them on a high. So they're always looking for the new experience, the new high. And then 8 you can usually recognize because when they walk into a room, everyone knows they're there. So they're strong, confident, straight-talking, and they have the need to be in control and in charge of what's going on. And then you get finally the 9, sometimes called the peacemaker. They're much more receptive, peace at any cost, even if it means suppressing what they're feeling just to make everyone happy. But they're easygoing, down-to-earth, diplomatic, kind of nice people in the Enneagram. I mean, everyone's nice, but they project as being, hey, everything's fine, and they're very forgiving. So those would be the 9 types. Obviously, every type differs when people become emotionally healthier or when they become less emotionally healthier. So they would then project as being different, and there are a number of different triads that can break the personality types into even more personality types. So what I've given you is the 9 basic types, and I hope that some of you would have listened to that and thought, oh, that sounds just like Fred or Jane or someone.
Well, how do emotional triggers apply? Because I guess some people, something that's considered, let's say, stressful can happen, and yet you're going to react differently to it than someone else.
You see, the point of the Enneagram is that, well, one of the issues is that you start to become consciously aware of when you are disintegrating. So when you lash out and start blaming as a certain type, you can no longer justify that behavior because you know that is what happens when you, as that particular type, disintegrate. So it becomes a healthy prod in the side to say, oh, I now can make a conscious choice. Do I want to go there? I mean, let's face it, like blaming is such fun. So do you want to stay there, or do you want to say, you know what, I'm going to rise above this. I'm going to go to the more healthy aspect of myself. I'm going to engage with forgiveness. I'm going to accept that my responsibility in what's happened.
Well, that's a very good explanation. And one of the very interesting things is that it does seem from your description is that you have something that's inherently you, and then you progress into various other levels of the Enneagram over time.
Correct.
And then, of course, each person could be complex and have one kind of Enneagram, I would say in relationship to one part of their life and perhaps a different one in relation to a different part of their life.
No, no. You only have your Enneagram type, but you have what they call wings, and the wings would be the number on each side of your type that flavor your type. So let's just say your type was red. If you had yellow to one side of you, it would make you a more orangey red. You'd still be a red, but you'd have a bit of the flavor of the color or Enneagram type next to you. But your type remains with you for the rest of your life.
Okay, that's interesting. That's sort of the same, let's say, with an astrological sign. It's with whatever you were born with, but as you go through the years, there are influences that make you react differently.
Yes, you could say that. There are a number of other numbers that even you might be a type 5, but you could move to aspects of a type 7, or you could move to, one of your wings, or you could move to aspects of an 8, because that's the way the energy moves around the Enneagram. But it doesn't mean to say that you'd ever be an 8. But
okay, Anne. So I'd like we're actually out of time. I'd like you to, I want to thank you so much for being our guest today, talking about the Enneagram of Eating, how the 9 personality types influence your food, diet, and exercise. And I'd like to thank you listeners so much for tuning in to Herbally Yours, produced at the studios of 90.3 WHPC, Nassau Community College, Garden City, New York. For more information, please email us at whpc@ncc.edu. We love to hear from you. This is your host, Ellen Kamai at naturalnurse.com, inviting you to join us next week for another edition of Herbally Yours. Until then, stay healthy.